Okay. Since the beginning of the week, we have been considering engaging your customers or attracting customers, satisfying them, and keeping the doors closed so that they don't leave. And I want to share some 5 common mistakes that entrepreneurs do, particularly small or medium scale businesses. Now, if you're into real estate, you're a food vendor, you sell clothes, you sell fragrances, maybe luxurious services, you're into hoteling, you're doing all manner of businesses. There are 5 common mistakes that I have observed, and I want to talk about them so that you can learn and maybe make adjustments if you're making that mistake. The most, the number one mistake that most entrepreneurs and startups make is not thinking about the customer in the conception of their ideas or their businesses. Now, there are cases where people begin to talk about the customer when they have finished setting up the business. They now begin to look, who is now going to be the customer. That is a very grievous mistake, and it's quite expensive. That means you're going to take so much time, you're going to waste energy, selling to people who are not interested in what you do. Now, customers are the centric part of your business, and of course, you need to think about them from the time that you have considered that business. You want to do real estate. Who are supposed to be the customers? Who are the profiled customers that you have? I know earlier today we were talking about profiling your customers and understanding your customers. There are some things that definitely not everyone can afford to. So everybody cannot be your customer. The first thing is to know that in conceiving your business idea, that you must know who the customer is and what kind of person are you coming out to serve. Even in properties, in real estate, there are classes of buildings, of lands, and all that. So you need to categorize and find your niche where you can sell or where you can play. So you need to understand that the customer is the first thing you should think about in the starting of your business. Number two, people do not understand that they are also, or they are the first customers to their businesses. You can't, there are people who make foods that they cannot eat, people who prepare products and who prepare services that they cannot take. There are things that you start, that there are businesses you could set up and you can't even deal with it as a person, and you want to offer it to people. My simple way to say this is that you must eat what you are preparing. So there are 2 classes of customers, the external and the internal. And when you come to the internal customer, you are the first partaker, you are the first customer. Your family is the first, your friends are the first. Now you must understand that you are a customer and you must have to deliver something that will appeal to yourself first. Satisfy your class, your taste, your value before you can dish it out to some other people. So business setup is an art and must be mastered so that you will know that you are the number one customer in your business. And because people do not understand it, that's why they could set up businesses and they use it to do all manner of things. They go and take things from the shop. They go and take their services and not pay. You want to use it to satisfy friends. They want to use it to sacrifice the business on the altar of relationship and for fun. Now, these are things that have affected some businesses and have limited them in performing optimally. The other one is that people also will rely mainly on their warm customers over the cold customers. You want to set up a business, you want to start your business, you want to start catering, you want to start food vending, you want to start anything, and the people you're thinking that will be your customers, all that you see are just your warm customers. What I mean warm customers are those who are close to you, people who are related to you, your friends and your kinsmen. That's why when they disappoint you and they don't buy, you feel so sad, you feel bad, because you are counting so much on those who may not eventually be your customers. Now, the other mistake that people make when they are setting up their businesses is selling to the wrong persons, selling to those who are not their customers. If you cannot profile your customers, you can't understand who they are, you can't categorize them, you don't know where they play, and you are forcing yourself on people who may not be buying, you are wasting energy and wasting resources. Now, this even applies to the social media sales or the internet sales. You have to be sure that the demographics are correct, that you are getting your targets right. Where are these people located? Where are they staying? So that you don't just sponsor ads, sponsor ads that will just go to the wrong hands or to wrong places where they will not even mind. Where are the people that you're looking for? Are they playing in X, or they are playing in Instagram, or they are playing in Facebook, or they are playing in TikTok? Each of these medium or each of these media, they have their own target audience, or they have their own catchments. So you need to be mindful of where you are selling. Don't sell to the wrong customers. The other mistake that I will not fail to talk about is thinking that rejection is no. This is the height of the challenges that people have about customers. When a customer says or rejects or says or counters your sales, you begin to feel like he has said no. That is a mistake, and it's expensive. When somebody rejects your product or rejects your service, they are only asking you to up your game. They're only asking you to convince them the more. They're only asking you to tell them why they should buy. They're asking you to optimize your sales skill. So it is an indication that they are willing, but they need to have more answers to their questions. So thinking that rejection is a no when you're trying to build your customer base is a very, very expensive mistake. And people have allowed customers who would have turned around their businesses slip off because they did not understand that when they say no, they are saying otherwise, or they are trying to know much more about what you are saying to them, or you're taking them to a terrain that they do not understand and they want to find a whole lot. So that's why they could say no. And when they say no, it means that you need to sell more, or you need to find a way to make them comfortable, bring them to the same page or the same space or same page so that they can be convinced to buy. I think in this whole week, if you missed the previous podcasts on sales or on setting up a customer base, you might need to go back and watch some of those ones so that we can be on the same page. We'll still continue talking about the customer and retention, and how you can grow your base. If you do not have a rich customer base, there is no point setting up the business. So while you are thinking about that business, think about the customer base. Maybe in my next video, I'm going to tell you the magic of numbers. When you have some number of customers, the effect that it will have on your business. Maybe using a case study of one of the businesses I've ever ventured into or have ever established. We can look at it in that direction. But one thing that you must know is that the customer, they say, is king, and customer is everything that you do. So pay attention to your customer base. See you in the next episode.